Delicious spinach koftas in flavorful creamy gravy. This curry offers the goodness of spinach in the tastiest way. Let's make Palak Kofta curry. In a bowl, I am taking 500 grams of spinach or palak leaves that I have chopped finely, half a cup of gram flour or besan, 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds or jeera powder, 1 teaspoon of Kashmiri red chili powder, 1 tablespoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of coriander powder, 1 teaspoon of ginger garlic paste, 2 green chilies finely chopped, and 100 grams of crumbled paneer. Mix and bring everything together. To make koftas out of this palak mixture, I am firstly greasing my palms with oil. And next, I am taking small portions of the mixture and rolling them into koftas or balls. These are done. I have here oil on heat. I am sliding the koftas one by one into the hot oil. While I am deep frying, you can even shallow fry, bake or air fry the koftas. The koftas are fried. For the curry, in a pan, I am taking 4 tomatoes roughly chopped, 2 onions roughly chopped, 2 green chilies, 1 inch ginger cut into pieces, 5 garlic cloves, 10 to 12 cashews, 1 bay leaf, 2 cloves, 5 to 6 black peppercorns, 1 inch cinnamon stick, and 3 small cardamom pods, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1/4 cup of water. I am closing the lid and letting the veggies soften. This would take 5 to 6 minutes. Let's check. The veggies have softened. I am letting them cool down a bit. Once cool, I am removing the bay leaf and transferring everything else to a grinder. Smooth gravy base is ready. Next, in a pan, I am taking 2 tablespoons of oil. Once the oil is heated, I am adding 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds, half a teaspoon of turmeric powder, 1 teaspoon of coriander powder, 1 teaspoon of garam masala, 1 teaspoon of Kashmiri red chili powder, and the gravy base. Bring everything together. At last goes in 1 teaspoon of dry mango powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of powdered sugar, and 5 to 6 tablespoons of water. Mix in and let the gravy simmer for 2 to 3 minutes on low flame. Smooth and creamy gravy is ready. For immediate serving, I am firstly pouring the gravy in the serving dish and then placing the koftas. A final garnish with chopped coriander leaves and we are done. Pair up the koftas with hot rotis or naan and enjoy.
The first and the most important thing for Lasooni Aloo Palak is of course the Lasooni Palak. Aloo of course we can come to later. Instead of aloo you can add in mushrooms, you can add in paneer, you can add in vegetables and make a separate vegetable out of this. But today's one, is the one with aloo. Like I said, the most important thing is Lasooni Palak. Let's get that in place first. Water on roll boil. Let's plunge in the palak. But before I throw that in, I'm going to season this water with salt. Now this is an extremely crucial step because palak as a vegetable, as a leafy vegetable, also has salt. So how much salt? Absolutely with caution. Let's throw the leaves in. What I've done to this palak or to these spinach leaves is I've snipped off the root part. I've retained the stem because I want a lot of fiber from this vegetable. What's also important to note here is at this point in time, this may seem to be a lot of spinach, but because spinach is all going to wilt while getting cooked, that's the beauty. And then you get that bright emerald green colored spinach. How to retain the color of the spinach? Of course, we'll come to that, but let this cook for at least a minute on high flame. Slowly, as this keeps wilting from the bottom, we're going to keep pushing this so that the palak or the spinach leaves, which is right on top, will also start getting immersed in the hot water. To accentuate the flavor of spinach, I'm going to add in lots of garlic at this stage. And remember, the recipe is Lasooni Aloo Palak. So lots of lasan and lots of garlic, which I need. And also to spike this up, I'm going to add in green chilies. Now, of course, little or more is a complete personal choice. End of it all, this is going to get pulped. This is going to get pureed. So the chili is going to be part of the puree itself. The cooking time of palak, the garlic and the chilies is very important in this stage because if you overcook this, one, the palak will lose its natural color. What we're also doing is we're kind of accentuating the natural color of spinach. But what will happen is, and which we will possibly not realize, the spinach leaves will start losing its nutrient value. Remember this. Now, when I say cook this for a minute on high flame, it could be subjective. Some places it could take 2 minutes, some places it could take 3 minutes. Now, how do you identify the right time and temperature? Now, if you come a little closer, what you will realize and notice is that the water will start frothing. And that's the perfect sign where the flame needs to go off. Let's transfer all of this into a deep bowl. You can squeeze out as much water as you can, ensuring you do not get burnt or scalded. Let's transfer this in this bowl here. Along with this, also remember, there's a lot of garlic and green chilies that are still floating around. Try to separate all of this like so and immediately add in lots of ice cubes. Top this up with water. The whole idea here is to give it a thermal shock from this hot boiling water straight into water which is ice cold. Now what happens in this case is the emerald green color kind of freezes, and that's exactly what you are looking at. Once the spinach cools, I'm going to lift this like so. Try to remove the cubes of ice because they're going to water it down completely while getting ground. Let's take these leaves, remove all the excess water, press it like so, and transfer this into the blender or the mixie jar. Similarly, take all of this, including the garlic and the green chilies. The next step is to grind this into fine and smooth paste. Our spinach, garlic and green chili puree is done and ready. What I've also done is I've rinsed the blender and the water has been kept aside. We'll move on to cutting a red onion. You can finely chop this, you can slice this, choice is completely yours. Once the onions are sliced and ready, we'll move on to frying the potatoes. 2 tablespoons of desi ghee and lots of potatoes. Let's fry the potatoes till they're nice, crisp and golden brown on the outside and soft and well done within. Once the potatoes are fried and ready, let's move them aside. Drain off as much ghee as you can. The idea of doing this in the same pan, one is because you do not want to end up using too many pots and pans, and secondly, these brown bits are going to add a lot of wonderful flavor to this recipe. Let's begin with cumin seeds and along with this, sliced onions. Let's crush these like so and fry these till they're lightly golden brown in color. Once the onions are done, we'll add in turmeric. The idea of adding turmeric in this recipe is to ensure that the green color kind of gets slightly accentuated. Remember that. And along with this, garam masala powder. Once this is done and the raw flavor of the turmeric goes away, I'm going to add in the puree of spinach along with garlic and green chilies. Time to add in the salt, remembering the fact that spinach leaves have its own salt and water which was used for blanching the spinach also had salt. So use this with caution this time. Fry this on high flame for at least a minute, and after that we'll be adding in the fried potatoes. Let you scrape in all this as well, because that's where the true flavor lies. Mix this well, and along with this, let's add in the water from the blender jar. We stir this well, lower the flame, cover this and cook this precisely for 3 minutes by the clock. Let's have a quick check. Let's stir this. And you know what? A Lasooni Aloo Palak is done and ready. The last step is, of course, to plate this or to transfer this in a container and then give a second tempering, this time with ghee, with red chilies which are dried, and some more garlic. Let's do that. For the second tempering, we'll need desi ghee, sliced garlic, stir them lightly. Once they just kind of begin to turn golden brown in color, I'm going to add in dried red chilies. Fry this till the chilies bloom and the garlic turns crisp and golden brown. Once the chilies and the garlic are both fried well, time to splash this on top of the Lasooni Aloo Palak. With this, a Lasooni Aloo Palak is done and ready. Now you can make this and serve this with roti, naan, fulka, chapati, puri. The choice is completely yours. What's important is for you to make this at home.
I've got for you a recipe that is nutritious and warming at the same time. So I've taken 2 bunches of spinach, and what I did was boil them in hot water for about 3 to 4 minutes and then drain the hot water and immediately put some ice cold water over it so that it helps in retaining the color and stops to cook. And now I am going to grind this bland spinach. Just add it in the blender and grind it into a smooth puree. This is done. One of the smartest choices that you can make is going for a seasonal vegetable like spinach. It's good for your body and good for your pocket. I'm going to start with heating some ghee. Turn on the flame. Just a teaspoon of ghee. Next, I'm going to add in 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds. Next, I'm going to add in an onion paste. So what I did was took 1 onion, 5 green chilies and 1 big piece of ginger, and all I did was grind it together. So after the cumin seeds start spluttering, I'm going to add in this paste. Saute the paste nicely, at least for a good 3 to 4 minutes. The onion paste is nicely dried out, and now I'm just going to move it to the side, and now into this I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of gram flour. Just slightly roast it in the pan. After you've roasted it for a few seconds, mix it with the onions. This basically helps in giving a good consistency to the gravy. And now into this I'm going to add 1 tomato finely chopped. Cook the tomatoes till they are nice and soft. Tomatoes are done, and now into this I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of curd. Turn the flame to high and keep stirring while you're cooking the curd. The curd is cooked, and now into this I'm going to add half a teaspoon of garam masala. Give it a good mix. Next goes in the spinach puree. So I got a few bunches of spinach from the farmer's market the other day, and I got a very good bargain. So money saved is money earned. Mix in the puree. It's a beautiful green color, and that's thanks to the ice. I'm going to add in a little bit of water for the gravy. The gravy is ready, and now we need to add some boiled corn. So during the rainy season, when corn was available in plenty, I stored them in zipper storage bags in the freezer, and guess what? I didn't have to run out to get these. Now goes in the salt, and whenever you're adding salt in a spinach gravy, make sure you add a little less. This is done, and now I'm going to empty it in a bowl. And the last part of the recipe to give that Lasooni flavor is to make the tadka. So in this pan, I'm going to heat 1 teaspoon of ghee. Next, tear in 1 dry chili, just get rid of the seeds. Add in the chilies, and also I have 8 cloves of garlic that are finely sliced. Let this cook on low heat and make sure that the garlic catches color. The garlic has changed color, and now time to pour the tadka over the spinach gravy. Our beautiful main course recipe is ready in a jiffy.
The base of Palak Paneer recipe is a puree of palak or spinach. So let's make that first. I've kept some water to boil, to which I'm adding some table salt. And to this, I'll be adding in washed palak leaves. Spinach is an amazing source of fiber and protein. We need to get the color right of this recipe, and that's immensely important. This step is technically called blanching and improves the final look and color of the recipe. As soon as the leaves of spinach are blanched, we need to transfer this into chilled water. This will stop and arrest the cooking further. The palak leaves have cooled off completely. We need to drain these now and grind it into a fine puree. To this, I'll be adding in some water, and that would assist in grinding this finer. Our blanched palak puree is ready. Let's now move on to the tadka. For this, I'm heating a pan, and to this, I'll be adding in some ghee. Well, you could also use a mixture of butter and ghee, but I personally love the flavor of ghee. While this is heating up, let's quickly chop some red onions. The onions are cut and ready. The ghee has also heated up. The first thing that goes in this are some cumin seeds. Once these crackle, I'll add in dried red chilies. Well, I prefer using red chilies for its nice flavor. Alternately, you could also use slit green chilies. Once these get lightly toasted, I'll add in chopped garlic, and this time lots of it. Once this turns a little nutty and golden brown, I'll add in the chopped onions. To this, I'll be adding in some salt so that the onions cook faster. Spinach are green leafy vegetables which are naturally salted in flavor. So make sure the quantity of salt is absolutely in check. Once the onions turn lightly golden brown in color, I'll add in turmeric powder. And along with this, chopped tomatoes. Let's give this a mix. Time to add in powdered garam masala. We need to stir fry this mixture on high flame for 2 to 3 minutes. If you've noticed, I've deliberately not added red chili powder because I do not want the color of the palak paneer to change. Once this mixture is nicely cooked, I'll add in the palak puree. Give this a mix. And we need to adjust the consistency with some water. Allow this to boil on high flame for 3 to 4 minutes. At this stage, you can also add in some cream or some butter if you need to make this richer, but I personally prefer it like so. While this is cooking, let's dice paneer or cottage cheese. I'll transfer the pieces of paneer in the bubbling gravy. Alternately, you could also deep fry the paneer pieces and add to the gravy. With this, your palak paneer is ready. Do try this with some roti, naan or fulkas. Well, today I get your winter specialty from the North Indian homes, and this is Palak Ka Saag. 3 big bunches of palak, and to accentuate the flavor and kind of bring in that touch of greens, I'm adding in fresh fenugreek leaves or methi. Well, this one is your regular big methi. I'm not using the small methi leaves here in this case. To this, I'm adding in just like a touch of red chili powder. Well, you can also add in green chilies, but I personally feel this just kind of intensifies the flavor and makes it more rugged and natural. To this, just a touch of turmeric powder, and along with this, garam masala. Let's add in a cup full of water, not too much, because of course the greens are also going to leach some water. Salt is one thing that you need to be very careful while making any saag, because most of the greens have their own little content of salt, especially spinach. So you need to be very, very, very careful, especially while using spinach. The next step is to, of course, mix all of this beautifully well. Well, for this, one thing to note is I'm using a ladle. The cup of the ladle is actually a little broader because that is going to help us mash all these vegetables once they are cooked. So remember that if you don't have that, you can just, and don't tell this that I said this, you can just use a hand blender and just give it a few blitz, and that's just perfect. But this is more traditional. Medium flame, 2 whistles, and we are done. It's been 2 whistles, off goes the flame, and just allow this to settle for 5 minutes or till the steam kind of subsides. Then we'll open it. Well, the steam has settled. Let's open this, have a quick check. The spinach and methi have perfectly cooked. Let's kind of mash this, pressing this to the walls of the pressure pan. When this mixture is just kind of beginning to mash up, we need to turn the flame on, and to this we need to add in a slurry of either besan ka atta or makai ka atta. This time I am using besan ka atta. Just to ensure that this is lump free, we need to make a slurry with cold water. Now that this slurry is lump free, let's swirl this into the saag and allow this to cook on medium to high flame for at least 5 to 7 minutes. Mix this well and allow this saag to thicken along with the besan or the makai ka atta. Let's move this on an alternate flame and bring in a kadhai or a wok. Heat the wok or the kadhai on high flame. You can use a tadka dani at this stage. To this, I'm adding in a generous amount of ghee. Allow this to heat. And while that's heating, let's quickly crush some cloves of garlic. Of course, once the ghee heats up, add in the crushed garlic to begin with. Along with this, cumin seeds. And finally, asafoetida. Swirl this well and allow the garlic to just kind of begin to turn golden brown in color. The garlic has turned golden brown in color. Let's add in the Palak Ka Saag. Isn't that wonderful? A quick swirl. Allow all of this to mix. Check for seasoning. And of course the flame, and this straight goes on the dinner table. And trust me, you can have this with chapati, roti, naan, or the quintessential makai ki roti.